more than 4 years, a group of computer hackers that goes by the name Anonymous has been hacking the websites of governments and businesses all over the world.
Leading members of the computer hacking group LulzSec have reportedly been arrested in the US.
Acting without care of cost or harm to those they affected.
It might seem unimaginable that the United States government could fall prey to a 16-year-old hacker. Watch closely as we unravel this unbelievable story. What kind of cyber mastermind do you think could take on some of the most powerful organizations in the world? The surprising answer, Mustafa Al-Bassam, a teenager from the UK, who in 2011 became part of one of the most infamous hacking groups in history, LulzSec. This group took on corporations like Sony, Fox, and Nintendo. But more shockingly, they targeted institutions like the CIA and FBI. How did Mustafa get here? Let's go back to the beginning. Born in Iraq, Mustafa was only 6 when his family moved to the UK. When he was 8, his father brought home a computer. While most kids were outside playing football, Mustafa was glued to the screen, learning how to code and build websites. One day, while working on his math homework, he found an online calculator. Using his knowledge of programming, he started fiddling with it, only to realize that he could hack the entire website with this poorly programmed calculator. The fact that he was only 9 years old at the time is mind-blowing. Mustafa became obsessed with hacking, spending hours taking over different websites. He even hacked into his school's private servers, discovering things like student grades and teacher salaries. Spending so much time online, he realized that he wasn't just better at hacking than most people his age, he was better than most people, period. And in 2011, he got the chance to put his skills to the test. Julian Assange's WikiLeaks was making headlines for its massive leaks. And when MasterCard blocked donations to their website to protect corporate interests, hackers began targeting their platforms. Even if you don't run in tech circles, you've likely heard the name Anonymous. It's a decentralized vigilante hacking collective with no hierarchy, and it was responsible for these attacks. As the Arab Spring picked up steam, Anonymous decided to lend a helping hand to the revolution. Mustafa, the 13-year-old hacking prodigy who'd just joined Anonymous, got his first taste of activism during Operation Tunisia, a campaign where Anonymous supported anti-government protests in Tunisia. Groups like Anonymous are often called black hats, for their tendency to hack from the shadows. There are also white hats, which are hackers who work for companies to protect systems from attacks. One of these white hats, HBGary Federal, was hired by the FBI. The FBI, or Federal Bureau of Investigation, is a law enforcement agency in the United States that handles federal crimes, including cybercrime. Their CEO, Aaron Barr, publicly threatened to expose top members of Anonymous. Mustafa hacked into his accounts and leaked nearly 70,000 emails, exposing the company's unethical tactics like blackmail and threats. Turns out, HBGary was also involved in creating an army of fake social media profiles and was hired by the US Chamber of Commerce for smear campaigns. But Mustafa was still just a teenager. He didn't want to change the world, he just wanted to laugh at it. Enter LulzSec, a splinter group of anonymous hackers who were all about laughing at your security. Mustafa took charge of maintaining and securing the group's website, lulzsecurity.com, which along with their Twitter handle, became the primary source for news about their exploits. Using the alias T-Flow, Mustafa was the most skilled hacker in the 6-member operation. The goal of LulzSec was simple: hack for fun. But what began as a small project spiraled into one of the most audacious cyber campaigns in history. LulzSec ended up breaching the FBI and CIA, two of the most powerful agencies in the US government. LulzSec kicked off their attacks in May 2011 with a hack on Fox.com. The reason? Fox News had publicly called the rapper Common vile, so they released a list of 73,000 X Factor contestants with a cheeky message. That same month, PBS aired a documentary critical of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Mustafa and the team hacked PBS, posting a story claiming Tupac Shakur, the famous rapper, was alive and living in New Zealand. Then, on June 2nd, They broke into Sony Pictures Entertainment, leaking usernames, email addresses, and passwords of thousands of people involved in sweepstakes draws. Around 1 million accounts were compromised, and Sony quickly called in the FBI. The following day, an FBI-affiliated organization called InfraGard was hacked. One user, Karim Hijazi, owned a white hat company called Unveilance, which was allegedly using botnets, groups of infected computers, to conduct illegal activities rather than protect clients from them. So, what is a botnet? A botnet is a network of computers that have been infected with malicious software, often without the owner's knowledge. These infected computers, called bots, can be controlled remotely by hackers to perform large-scale attacks, like sending spam emails or conducting DDoS attacks. Some of the information obtained from InfraGard raised concerns about discussions related to cybersecurity vulnerabilities, including potential risks to infrastructure and public systems like the UK's National Health Service, NHS. These revelations highlighted the importance of addressing such flaws to prevent future exploitation. In light of these escalating cyber attacks, then President Barack Obama declared a war on cybercrime. The response? On June 13th, LulzSec released internal configuration data from the official US Senate website. It was a harmless prank, but the group mocked Obama's rhetoric, asking, "This is a small, just-for-kicks release of some internal data from Senate.gov. Is this an act of war, gentlemen? Problem?" Building on their prior activities, LulzSec turned their attention to a particularly prominent target, the CIA. Known as one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world, the CIA became the focus of one of the group's disruptions. This incident further escalated attention from global law enforcement, marking the beginning of the end for LulzSec, as authorities intensified their efforts to apprehend the individuals involved. Here's where things took a turn. One of the key members of LulzSec, a hacker named Hector Sabu Monsegur, made a huge mistake. In early June, Hector logged into an anonymous chat forum without properly hiding his identity. The FBI, already on their tail, traced his digital footprints. The authorities were closing in, and they gave Hector a choice: face serious jail time or cooperate. Hector, feeling the pressure, decided to cooperate. And just like that, the cracks in LulzSec's seemingly invincible operation began to show. Hector began feeding the FBI crucial information about the group's operations. He even helped them track down and arrest several members of LulzSec. The rest of the group had no idea that their most trusted ally had turned against them. On June 20th, law enforcement took action. The UK's Serious Organised Crime Agency, SOCA, and a Chinese government website were hit with DDoS attacks, and the botnets used in those attacks were traced back to LulzSec. By then, the authorities had built a solid case, and arrests were imminent. On the same day, LulzSec announced Operation Anti-Sec, calling on hackers worldwide to join them in a digital war against governments. The group began leaking sensitive information, including hacking the Arizona Department of Public Safety to release sensitive data. It seemed like LulzSec was unstoppable, until the authorities finally caught up. In the weeks that followed, Mustafa, just 16 years old, was arrested. With his age taken into consideration, Mustafa was given a lighter sentence, 20 months in jail and 320 hours of community service. But it wasn't the end of his story. Since his release, Mustafa has left his hacking days behind. He earned a PhD and co-founded a blockchain company called Celestia Labs. And if you've reached this stage of the video, let me share an interesting fact. During his bachelor's degree, he and I were at the same university, King's College London. He was 1 year ahead of me, and I used to see him around, but mostly he would stay quiet and close to his circle of friends. Cybersecurity has come a long way since the days of LulzSec, but lone hackers are still out there, and hacktivism isn't going away anytime soon. What will the future of digital activism look like? Only time will tell. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel, like, share, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Before you go, check out my video on Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and his project QStar, which was a highlight a few months ago. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.